How do we banter?
What does that look like?
Banter, banter, banter. Sweeping, sweeping, sweeping.
Brooming.
Brooming.
Yeah, it's like sweeping.
Hello and welcome to the year 2025. You may have already been here, but now we are here with you as well. We're all in this together.
High School Musical.
Just like the classic film Romeo and Juliet said growing up. We're all in this together. The Bertrands and the Russells. I don't even know the names of the families that are feuding.
That was very interesting.
But if you're wondering where you are, welcome to this year's first episode, this week's edition of Hardly Working, the show about life, love, and labor, hosted by the couple that works, plays, and stays together. I am 2025 SP.
And I'm just Kelly.
Oh, you haven't upgraded for the new year yet?
Not yet, but I'm working on it.
What are you going to level up this year?
Level up.
Level up.
That's really personal.
Is it? Should we save it for Friday's first episode of Hardly Working Through It?
No, I can share now. It doesn't
Tell
matter.
me.
But yes, Friday, Hardly Working Through It. I would like to be a healthy girly, whatever that looks like for me. Healthy boundaries, healthy eating, healthy moving my body, healthy balance between work and play, and healthy sheets.
On your bed?
Yeah, I just want more sheets. We have great sheets. They're my favorite. I'm looking for a new duvet cover, which you know, a secondary one that's heavy like the one we have.
Here's what's happening. She's putting it into existence. That Brooklinen, not a sponsor, but use the code Hardly Working for 10% off your first order.
It won't do anything.
But Brooklinen, we have so many good sheets, and I know there's a set that just keeps eluding you.
It's
the
gone
wrong
now.
size.
It's gone
It's out of
forever.
stock.
I
It's
should have
gone
just
forever.
bought it when I could have. I should not have waited for the deals. I should have just went ahead and bought it because I really wanted it, and now I'll never have it. And you know what? It's okay.
We learned something.
Because pink goes good with green.
Well, I heard that green is this year's pink.
They're both right.
Oh well, I don't
Those
have
are our
any
sheets and our duvet covers, pink and then green.
I don't-
Anyways,
I don't have any goals this year. I'm just gonna live, baby. I'm gonna win.
listen, I'm going to get into this real quick because I thought we were going to talk about this Hardly Working Through It, but we're not talking about New Year's resolutions. But I've come to the conclusion this year that I don't agree with New Year's resolutions. You and I normally have a word of the year.
Yep.
Which is great. But I've come to the realization that I don't think that New Year's resolutions are ever possible because I think what people do is they put like their biggest stretch goals out there.
Yeah.
And here's the deal. People say that you can be good at more than one thing. I don't know that that's true. I think you can be I think you can be pretty good at more than one thing, but I think if you really want to succeed in life, you really got to run for that thing.
Dang.
It doesn't mean that you can't switch it up. And my example would be like, I'm sure people would be like, yeah, but you have, this is my example. You have actors that also are great directors and also great producers. Yes.
Good example.
But most of the time they become a really excellent actor and then they have a directorial debut.
Yeah, well,
where
they've
they're
been
directing.
sitting under the directors for decades.
Yeah, but then they're probably only really focusing on directing whatever episode or whatever movie they're directing, right? They're not always directing and acting in it, right? Or they've already excelled at the acting portion of it, and so now they're adding a secondary thing on.
Which goes to your original point of what? That you can only be good at one thing, focus on one thing?
Yeah, at one time.
At one time. So what are you focusing on?
Myself.
Perfect.
Anyways, that was my conclusion as I was thinking about things I wanted to work on this year. And I was like, why is it so hard to do?
Yeah.
Like, why can't I be like those TikTok moms that like are so organized and all that stuff? And I was like, that's because all they do is they're a stay-at-home mom who records TikToks. And that's their income. That's what they do.
Yeah.
That's how they make. I am not.
Yeah, I hate to tell you.
Multiple businesses.
Yeah. And I don't know. We could do that. We just don't want to. Speaking of you mentioning healthy boundaries, we have the very first episode of Hardly Working Through It, the uncensored, unfiltered After Dark version, which means I know a lot of you listen in your car with kids or have it on the background in your living room. Hardly Working Through It is going to be on its own separate podcast, own separate channel, and it will not be kid-friendly. So we're going to be able to get into more stuff that way. Just be ready for that. It will not get dropped. If you're listening to this, it will not be on this channel. It is on a separate podcast channel called Hardly Working Through It, which you can find right now. But on Friday, what is the first thing we're talking about on Friday, Kel?
It's a great question. We're talking about what do healthy boundaries look like and how does that transform who you are as a person?
Healthy boundaries in relationships.
Yeah, anytime. Friendships.
Family.
Did I nail it? Was that right?
I think so.
Yeah. I was like,
gonna
I
be a
don't
good
have
time.
anything in front of me, so I'm just reading from memory.
No, it's interesting. We talked about it a little bit beforehand. Kelly thinks that I hold to my boundaries too strictly. And so we'll have to dig into what that means.
Yeah, I mean, your boundaries are your boundaries, but we'll talk about that in our
Yeah, we
boundaries conversation on Hardly Working Through It on
Check it out
Friday.
on Friday. But now it's
Links
hardly working.
in the bio
Sure.
description.
Sure. I guess it'll be in there. But
Thanks.
it is the new year. Thanks. 2025. It's the new year. Not a lot has actually happened since Hardly Holidays. Although I will say I had a great Hardly Holidays. What a treat to have Simone come in for 2 episodes and
Yes.
guest host with you. And I got to be in the room with Nick and got to enjoy that. It was some of the most fun I've had in a long time.
Yeah,
It was
very fun.
a big
We
party.
should do it again, round 2.
We will. Hoping to get her in some Hardly Working Through It's with
Yeah,
you.
we have a Hardly Working Through It coming out soon.
Oh, yeah. You promised it to everyone that
the
it's going to
juicy
be
episode.
juicy. So better get
It
juicy.
won't be this Friday, but it'll be at some point in
No,
time.
and I'll tell you what, there's juicy things happening for sure. So we got lots to juggle and deal with. But
Yeah,
did you have
oranges, they're juicy.
and juggleable?
Yeah, exactly.
They fit both criteria.
I know.
But we did have New Year's Eve, which I worked at Universal Studios
you did.
Hollywood. Got to DJ with Sasha B as the dueling DJs on their main stage in front of the Grinchmas tree. And not
Pretty
only last year, if you were with us, you might remember that I did this last year. And Kelly came with her mom and enjoyed that and enjoyed the park. Well, mom didn't come this year. Oh, no. Kelly brought someone else.
Yeah, I brought Brooklyn Ray, our little girl, our daughter. She's been wanting to go to Universal so badly. It was an option for her birthday coming up. And I was like, well, you know what? You get tickets. Let's go. So we went. We spent like the majority of the day there. I think we got there about 1-ish.
Yep.
And we didn't leave until like 9:30. She was trying so hard to hang because it was like 9:45 because you didn't start playing until 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
And she really wanted to watch you. She's never been able to watch you work or play or anything like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Play
It
music.
was
I
awesome
mean.
for me to have her
So it was
there.
really cool. We were right in the front. She was dancing. She was having a blast. And she was like yawning. And she's like, I'm so tired, but I'm having such a good time. I don't want to go yet. And then finally she was like, okay, Mom, I think I'm really tired. And I was like, okay, let's go.
Cute. It was a good time.
So
I
it
was
was really, really fun.
glad to have you guys there.
Yeah, it was really, really fun. And we had a blast in the park that day. She went on the Transformers ride, which I was really proud of her for.
Yeah, and she loved it, right? Was that the one she loved?
She really loved it. Yeah, it was a lot smoother than I thought it was going to be. And that was nice.
That's good. If only that translated into her being like, yes, I will come here for my birthday. But no, it came translated to, I will have a birthday party instead.
Because she got what she wanted, which was to go to Universal.
Yes. But talking about the birthday is going to be boring. So instead,
It's Wicked themed. That's all you need to know.
yeah, shocker to no one, I'm sure. But instead, what I'd like to do is talk to you about what happened on January 9th.
That happened today?
In a
Thank
segment
God
we call
it's January 9th.
That Happened Today. Yeah, can you believe it? We're already over a week into the new year.
That's great.
And I don't feel like I've started, but that's
No,
okay.
but you have not.
It
We're
is.
still resting and relaxing. We're still.
Yeah, my watch tells me to stand up and get up and do stuff. By the way,
Nah.
if you're not watching, you couldn't possibly know how hard Kelly and I are twinning right now,
It wasn't intentional.
but it's pretty bad.
He actually sewed that half of his sweater on today just to match me. I know.
This is actually part of the outfit I wore for New Year's Eve.
That's true.
Yeah, just no jacket on top of it. Anyway, you ready for That Happened Today?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's literally the same.
Yeah, okay, sorry. That happened today. Tell me all about it.
January 9th. Lots of things
9th,
happened
9.
today. I know, 9th. We're in 2025, but lots of things have happened
Okay.
over the years.
I'm ready.
In fact, I can't believe this didn't come to mind immediately because in 1994, Dutch speed skater, Rindtje, I'm definitely pronouncing that right, Ritsma set a world record in the 1500 meter
Wow.
with what I'm assuming is 1 minute, 51 seconds and 0.60
Dang.
microseconds.
I don't know what that means, but that's
Maybe it
crazy.
was an hour and 51 minutes. Maybe they set the slowest record for 1500 meters with an hour and 51 minutes and 60 seconds. That doesn't make sense.
I don't know.
But congratulations, Dutch speed skater. So that happened. Not that exciting. Bearing the lead on some of these. A couple movies came out. Did you ever see El Mariachi from 1993?
Nor.
Me either. Put it on the to-see list. How about Leap Year with Amy Adams?
Of course.
Of course you've seen it. How about Leprechaun, a horror comedy featuring Warwick Davis?
No way.
You know what it is, though, right?
It's a scary movie.
It is. And they've made like 5 of them.
Nor.
Chaplin with Robert Downey Jr. in 1993 before he was Iron Man came out today. Are you serious? I haven't seen it either.
Yeah.
How about, have you seen Youth in Revolt or Crazy on the Outside?
No.
Because I haven't either. So not a lot of great movies came out, but
Leap year. Thank you.
what stood out for me was how many birthdays were on the same day.
A lot of birthdays on the night.
Famous birthdays. Starting with in 1935. I'm going to have you guess who this is. 1935. This king was born in Mississippi, and he was born not only to fight in the
Elvis
war,
Presley.
but also to be the king of pop music.
Elvis Presley.
Elvis Presley was born in 1935. The same day that a few years later, in 1942, Stephen Hawking was born.
Wow.
Which, a few years after that, in 1947, David Bowie was born.
It's a good day, apparently.
It is a good day to be born. Not a good day to be alive, but a good day to be born, because all 3 of those people have since passed. But happy birthday to Elvis, Stephen Hawking, David Bowie, and of course, a couple other people. But whatever. Oddly enough,
Who cares about
I didn't
them?
know who they were. I felt like I already went through the movies,
That's
and I
fine.
was
Yeah,
like,
you're
we
good.
don't even know
It's
these
good.
movies. But speaking of Elvis, on this same day, years later, he was born in 35. In 73, Elvis filed for divorce from Priscilla Presley on his
birthday.
38th birthday. Yes, I was going to say, how did you know that? And then I was like, I'm a big dumb idiot.
You gave me all the information I needed. Myrtle.
You know, if I was going to file for divorce, which I have, not currently, but I have in my life,
I was
as
like,
far as you know, I don't know that I'd do it on my birthday or the other person's birthday, unless I was really petty.
and you were really trying to piss them
Yeah,
off.
no, but if I was
That
going to go
would've been
that far,
perfect.
I would have waited for the wedding anniversary, I think.
That is
if we're
what
being
You
petty.
should have done.
Yeah, well, but I didn't.
Yeah, you were nice.
I waited a long time. Stay tuned on Hardly Working Through It. Last thing that happened on this day, January 9th, in 2007, in my opinion, one of the most important things that's happened in our lifetime, definitely the most important thing that's happened here, minus Elvis Presley being born and divorcing Priscilla. Steve Jobs introduced Apple's first iPhone at the Macworld keynote.
In what year?
1912, 2007.
Dang.
What were you doing in 2007?
I was in high school.
Yeah.
Maybe even a freshman.
I remember when I was when in 2007. Oh boy, shouldn't have grabbed that marker. I am
Put it down.
dry erase dirty now.
It's because of the eraser.
So, story time. When I was when 2007 was happening, I'm not putting it down. This is my marker.
Sure.
I've already dirtied my hands. I've sullied them
Don't touch me.
for the name of podcasts. When 2007, I was graduating high school / going to college. If you recall, I went to Oklahoma for college with my buddy
For a
Victor.
year.
For a year, yeah. I don't recommend it, the state or the college. Sorry, everyone in Oklahoma. I was in college with my buddy Victor. Victor had a lot of money, and he also had the very first iPhone. And
Did he
so
really?
I remember sitting outside of a communications class with him, and we're all waiting for the teacher. We're all like 18 years old at this point. So we're just like sitting there, and he's like playing music off of his iPhone and showing us pictures. And I had a Motorola Razor.
Yeah. A flip phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have a Razor ever?
Uh-huh.
So almost everyone did. This, children, was back in the days where phones cost $199. Even the iPhone at the beginning. But razors were the coolest thing. They were so thin. They could fit in your pocket. It's not bulky. We had it. It could take up to...
Yeah, flip phones are making a comeback, apparently.
Yeah, which I think is mostly dumb, with some exceptions. But I think I could hold up to 20 photos on my Motorola Razor, because why would you need more than 20
I don't know. Why would you?
pixelated photos?
Why?
And I was like, I don't need to have photos with me all the time. Like, I don't need extra storage
And
space
now
like
you
he's
do.
got. And I was like, I don't even listen to music, so I don't need that. Fast forward, everything is from our phone. Like, it's so normal that it is your camera and you take all the pictures. I've got, I don't know, 15,000 photos. Music, even if you don't listen to music, you've got music apps on there to listen to. Everything has changed. Who I was in 2007 before getting an iPhone is a sadder, probably arguably more happy person than I am now with
Yeah.
it.
I had a Nokia flip phone.
I had a Nokia flip
That
phone
was my
too.
first phone. I could only call my mom and my dad on it.
Really?
And send 3 text messages a month.
A month?
Maybe it was a day.
Mine was
but
3 a day.
Mine may have been 3 a day too.
My mom's, the first texting plan I got, my mom got 100 messages That's send and receive cumulative total 100 text messages. She's like, you can send up to 3 per day. And I'm sure she was like, that's a lot.
Yeah.
But if she texted me, it was like, where are you? And I was like, I'm on my way home. I'm already 2/3 of the way done. I'm almost 70% done with my texts for the day. I better not ask anybody something. They better not text me because I won't have a text back to answer them with because I've hit my 3 a day.
You never thought about like, okay, if I use like 9 today, then I just don't have to text the next 2 days.
Right.
So I'll just like use up, I'll have like a conversation and the next day I'm not going to text anybody. Did you ever do that?
Kind of. I did versions of that. Yeah.
So like that's
not
the way
just
to do
that,
it.
but like children gather around. Not only were texts not unlimited, but calling wasn't either.
Yeah.
And before you could text, everyone was just calling. When you had a personal phone or a cell phone or any phone that you could use, you were calling people because texting didn't exist. But texting was like, you only have 1,000 minutes a month, except free nights and weekends.
Texting did exist. It was just in the form of a beeper.
A pager or a beeper.
Pager, yeah.
Or I never called it AIM.
AIM.
I always called it AOL Instant Messenger.
It's AIM.
You called it AIM?
AIM.
What was your screen name?
Spazzy Singer 12.
Ew. Spazzy Singer?
You know, it may have been, I mean, at some point in time it was that. It may have just been like Kelly Sweeney or Kelster. Actually, I think that's what it was. Kelster 1212.
Wow.
My dad calls me Kelster.
I call you Kelster sometimes.
Same way I call you Patsky sometimes.
That's true. Once and only
Couple of
once. And it was
times.
odd. It was very odd.
I've done it a couple of times. You just haven't, like, I've done Patty Boy or Patsky more
That's weird,
recently than normal. When
Fatty
I'm trying
Patty
to
is bad.
I'm not saying that.
Patty Fat Boy is bad.
I haven't
These
said
are all the names that my cousins called me growing
I didn't
up.
call you that though. I'll just say Patsky.
And they
Your
didn't
mom
always
would
call
love
me that,
that.
but they did call me that frequently. And they were
It's
the
okay. It
only
was
ones who
Kelly
did it.
Belly.
You hated Kelly Belly.
I did. My dad specifically picked my name so I wouldn't have any nicknames or like anything like that. And I was like, you couldn't think about Kelly Belly? You just didn't want me to be called Cassie? Sassy Cassie?
Ew. So back when you were being born, the worst thing could have been called Sassy.
No, the worst thing would have been called Cassie. He didn't want, because my parents were going to name me Cassidy with a K, I think.
Yeah, but Sassy Cassie was the worst.
I don't know.
That's not bad.
I just made that up on the spot.
Okay.
I don't know.
We got to think harder. I think every time you're going to pick a name for a child, you should be required to send someone with that name to a middle school for a week and just see how hard they get made fun of.
I mean, with
that's
the
the real test.
With a last name like Sweeney that rhymes with weenie, I mean, you're already
tough.
kind of there. Unless you use it to your advantage. Don't be a weenie, vote for Sweeney.
I used to get a lot of crap. That's funny.
Thanks. It's like, give me my flowers.
Here's your flowers.
I did use that in 5th grade as I ran for secretary, treasurer, something of my class.
Did it work?
Yes, I won.
Dang. Well, sorry.
I think they felt bad for me because I was the new kid.
I have to tell you the story, which you've probably heard, but I don't know. So not a lot is rhymable with McGillicuddy, like Sweeney.
Yeah.
Sweener. I used to get a lot of, I don't know how they got this, but they would say McGillicrap. Oh, here's why. Because I was on this baseball team in middle school, and this other kid at my school was on it. And like if you made an error, dropped a ball, something happened, you'd have to take a lap around the whole field. I'm not talking about the bases, like the whole thing.
Dang.
So something happened. I know not what. But this guy, this pseudo friend of mine.
Did you do it?
Oh, we all had to take laps.
No, but did you make the mistake?
Yeah. I don't know what it was, but I'm sure I did. Because this guy just goes, take a lap, McGillicrap. And that was like the rest of the season. And since he went to school with me, he still did that. Later on, oddly enough, I got a phone call from him like when I was 20. And he was like, hey, man. I was like, hey. He's like, I just want to apologize because there was a lot of like rude things, mean things I did and said to you like when we were in high school, and I just wanted to say sorry. And I was like, oh, wow, thanks, man. And I was like, that was the weirdest phone call I've ever had. Fast forward now is like a lot of 12-step programs. One of the things that you do is make amends for the things that you've done wrong.
Yeah, but I also think, and we can talk about this and how they're working through it, but I also think it goes to show that, which you say to me this a lot, but that like you're thinking about them way less than they're thinking about you. Or in this case, like he's thinking about you and what he did way less than.
Yeah, this was the outlier to what you're saying, but yes.
But for him, it was true. Like he was thinking about you and it was really like on his
Torturing
shoulders
him, and I wasn't
torturing
thinking
him.
about it at all.
You weren't thinking about it at all.
Yeah, yeah. I see what you're saying.
So like when I beat myself up because I'm like, oh, I said this thing and should I apologize and all that stuff, you're like, they're probably not even thinking about that.
You guys.
They are.
I have a story about that from New Year's. I
Really?
haven't even told you this.
Do you want to tell it now? Or do you want...
Yeah, I'll tell it now real fast. And then we can go to stories. So
Is it embarrassing? Are you going to be embarrassed?
No, it was one of those things. I mean, yeah, it's embarrassing for me because I felt bad about it. It's a delicate line to walk trying to be humorous and funny all the time and handsome and wonderful and tall and beautiful.
Obviously, I was gone during this time.
So we had to do a rehearsal for New Year's, and that required us to be at Universal Studios from 11 at night till 2 in the morning, which oddly enough was basically what we did the next day from 8 at night till 2 in the morning. Long days. But one of the guys that was with us, awesome dude, so kind, so nice. I'd say maybe 30 years older than me, but like totally fit the vibe, totally cool. And you kind of like get into certain conversations and you're out of them and you're in passing. It's 3 hours out there. Like you just hear a lot of stuff. So he was having a conversation about some heart stuff at some point with somebody else. Like, yeah, like I have to get this thing checked out. It's been a weird year. And we were in some of those conversations, so we knew. And as we were leaving at 2 in the morning, we were in a group of people. We were all walking, and he was talking to somebody about that. And basically, they were like, "We hope you get that all sorted out and checked out." And someone with me was like, "Yeah, man, like we need you around for a long time." And I was like, "Yeah, man, at least through tomorrow night." And he didn't laugh at it. He was kind of like it made me feel like, oh, maybe this is a more serious thing that I just made fun of. But I went home and just thought about it all night long, and then came back and I actually didn't apologize for it. But at the end of the whole night, at like 2:30 in the morning, I was like, "Hey, man, it was so good working with you and meeting you, and I'll be thinking about you a lot this year. I hope that everything gets settled with whatever's going on with your heart and that kind of stuff. It's a lot to carry." And, just hoping things get better for you. And he was like, "Oh, like, thank you." But when you talk to somebody and it feels like they've got a lot of information that you don't.
Yeah.
You ever found out when someone passes from cancer or something, you're like, "Oh, they didn't even tell us. Like they said they've been sick for a month and they can't shake it. And then they die," which has also happened to me too. Not me. Well, it was happened to people in my life.
Not to him personally.
Yeah, I'm still here. But it felt more like that. And I just felt like such a jerk having made that joke of well, at least stay alive till tomorrow because we got work tomorrow and then you can die. So I felt I didn't say that.
Maybe the takeaway is let's not make jokes about people dying.
Maybe the takeaway is take risks in your life.
No.
Because some of the best stuff comes from the risks. But also it was on a fortune cookie. We took a fortune cookie. We took a big hit of fortune cookie earlier.
Yeah, we did.
With our daughter. But one of them said that it was like your biggest successes will come from your biggest risks. And I was like,
go for it. You take those risks. I, on the other hand, will not be saying anything about people that could potentially die within the next year.
Yeah.
So do whoever that is, we hope everything's okay.
Yeah.
You're not listening to this podcast, and that's fine.
Hopefully you're not listening to it because you're alive and have something better to do.
Yeah, that's the one.
And not
he's busy
because
working.
You can't. Yeah.
Universal Studios.
Get his stuff together. Shout out to that guy. Anyway, that's all because Steve Jobs introduced the iPhone in 2007.
Thanks, January 9th.
I am so impressed that you remembered the date. I was like, she's going to get to January and I'm going to have to say 9.
No, I'm a professional most of the time.
Yeah, except for some of those episodes of hardly working through it. Talk about a show that finally really went off the rails. Episodes 8 and 9 or 7 and 8 or whatever with you and Shin.
Hardly Christmas, Hardly Holidays.
Hardly Holidays. What did I say?
Hardly working through it. I was like, what are you talking about?
Those will go off the rails too, but for different reasons.
All right. Well, thanks, January 9th.
Thanks, January 9th. Hopefully we'll get more fun things in future years. So something has to happen today for us to talk about next year, even though we won't talk about it next year because it'll be January 8th or 10th or something. I don't understand.
As long as it's not
calendars work.
A different January day, we're fine.
Well, we'll see what happens today. Anyway, remember years ago, actually truly probably a year ago on this very show where you were telling me a story about a dude who had a spider lay
Yes.
eggs in his toe
Yes.
underneath the toenail?
And they took most of them out, but one of them hatched and grew and then was killed with the amoxicillin or whatever they gave him.
Yeah.
And then they had to take it out. And they asked if they could keep it, and they said no.
Well, oh yeah, well that makes sense.
Look at all the information I have.
Yeah, you sure do
You're
know a lot about.
welcome.
You know what's funny is like you bring in stories occasionally, which is really great, but you always remember those and they always stand out. I bring like 5 stories in a week.
Yeah, because
I just forget them very easily.
I only bring stories that I think are worth it.
Well, this is a story that might be worth it per
Okay.
your criteria just laid out for us.
Okay.
Right, meow.
Meow.
So it has nothing to do with a spider, but it does have to do with a doctor removing live cockroach from the intestine of a man complaining of abdominal issues.
How did that happen? And
That's
how
a
many?
great question. The answer is 1.
Tell me the story.
1 is how many. How did it happen? Question mark. They have 2 thoughts, and
Ate
honestly,
something with a cockroach egg on there.
that is true. The doctors believe he either ate something or it crawled into his mouth while he was sleeping, which is possible.
Okay, here's the deal. I need to know what type of cockroach. So are they the little brown ones or like the big ones that are like have a shell?
I
Those are the
believe
ones?
they were. It was like a little brown one because it says here it was alive, so it was alive in this man. This is a Jonah and the whale type story.
How do you not feel
where
that?
Jonah's a cockroach and the whale is a human man?
Yeah.
Well, he did feel it. He went in because he was complaining of an abdominal pain, but it says it was 3 centimeters long.
That's
So,
pretty small, but
I don't actually know how big 3 centimeters is.
I don't know. But here's the deal. It's a
I
good.
only know how big like 7 inches
That's
is.
a good argument for mouth tape at nighttime.
Oh my
Snatch
gosh,
your
I'm not
jaw,
doing mouth tape.
And I don't breathe through my mouth. I breathe through my nose. You, however, are a snorer, which means you breathe.
Everybody just listen to this. This is SP breathing through his nose. Is that what you want all night?
Why can't you just breathe like me?
Because I'm stuffed in my nose
All right,
holes.
Fiero.
My sinuses are dancing through nights. Dancing through nights.
Oh my goodness.
Sniffle and sneezing.
You never know though. You
and
could try.
always snoring and bugging my wife.
I don't care. That was pretty good.
Thank you.
I think it would snatch your chin,
I don't have a very snatchable chin. I'll tell you that much.
and it might help with your snoring. And no cockroaches.
No cockroaches. Anyway, this man, I believe he was in New Delhi, India. Yeah, experienced
Okay.
severe. Don't make
cool.
it seem like just because it's in India couldn't happen here.
I mean, it could. You know how many spiders you've eaten in your life?
Have you ever seen? No, that's a myth.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No.
I snoped it, and you don't. The average human doesn't eat 8 spiders in their lifetime. They eat closer to 30.
See?
That's actually not true either, but I bet you believe it. I bet you would. And I bet those numbers are a lot higher in rural places. I somehow got like in this thread of name that spider on Reddit.
Nope.
Oh, well, it turns out,
I mean, it's probably helpful.
seems like a lot of spiders are more friendly than we think.
Like the big black ones that aren't black widows.
Well, the ones that are like the size of your hand.
The daddy long legs.
No, the size of your hand.
You're
Have
talking
you
about the
seen a
ones-
daddy long legs the size of your hand?
Close. You mean the ones from Australia?
Australia.
Australia.
Or no.
Is that what you mean? Because
Yeah,
their
yeah.
spiders, some of those spiders there are not that nice though. They
That's
are
true.
poisonous and they
But
can kill you. That's
that's
why
true.
they took that Peppa Pig episode
They took a
off.
Peppa Pig episode down
Yeah.
because Australian spiders don't screw around.
Because it was like spiders are your friends. You can be friends with them. They're good.
What they should be
And
saying
Australia
is
was like, no.
spiders are not friends and they are not food.
Yeah, that's right, Bruce.
What are we talking about? Big spiders. Who knows?
The size of your hand. They're
Oh
friendly.
yeah, they're not. Well, apparently they're not as friendly as you'd think. Then I also saw this dude. So this is what happens. They'll be like, send a photo or a video. Be like, what's this cute little guy's situation? What's his
No.
name? Sometimes they're crawling on their hand, and this one dude is
Heck
like,
no.
has a spider. It's about the size of a quarter, and on his hand, and he's like, he's so cute and he's so friendly.
Yeah,
I know
bit
I
him.
should put him down. And they're like, homie, that's a brown recluse. And he's like, yeah, I know, but it's just so nice. That is one of the. There's also a thread of like, what's the one spider you won't touch
I just
or
got the
move?
chills.
And a lot of people say brown recluses, a couple other ones, trapdoor, Brazilian walking spider, and trapdoor spider. I don't know. Look them up. They all sound terrible.
We should look these up so we
But
know what they look like. So when we see them,
It
we
does
know.
seem like those big ones are like those car visor spiders. You know what I'm talking about? They don't seem to be the ones to worry about. It is.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
the,
I'm pretty worried if
smaller
there's a
ones.
spider in my car. And there is a big spider that way that is pretty dangerous. I've seen the TikTok videos.
in the visor.
Not just
Right?
the visors. There was one girl who was like, "This is the deadliest spider in Australia, and it just snuck into my car."
Oh, I remember that.
She's like, "Well, I guess we're gonna drive then." I'm like,
Like,
"Wait,
no,
what?"
we're not dying today
I think she may have bombed her car though, because I think
with like a bug bomb.
at some point in time she was like, "Well, there it is," and it was like upside down and dead. I was like, "Good." And here's the deal. I don't care if you tell me that a spider is okay. If I flip down my visor and a spider jumps in my lap,
We done.
I'm going to lose my crap.
Yeah. Stay tuned for Harley working through it to hear how she really feels.
Yeah. Also, I need everyone to know that this year, after the flood, we rearranged our whole bedroom
Yeah, we did.
because we had to redo the floor.
No more nooks
we
and crannies,
took everything
nothing.
out because we had to redo the floor. Let's
Everything.
be clear. But
And the ceiling.
And we were thinking about replacing the windows, which we still might do at some point in time. Who knows? But we were cleaning the windows. We were just cleaning the whole house. But I was like, oh my God, what is that? On the outside. I could see something.
gosh,
And it was
yeah.
kind of like moving up and down. And I was like, oh my God, that is a black widow. And I made SP go out there and spray the crap out of that black widow. And he killed it. But it was terrifying. I was like, we've been opening our window for air. It has a fence thing or whatever it's called.
Yeah. Like
What is
you
it?
open the window as a screen.
As a screen. But I was like, that's just been right next to me
Yeah.
for how long?
I've been charging it rent.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
But I
three
do
dead
not-
flies a month.
I do not like spiders. I hate spiders.
Yeah,
It is
it's
spider
not cool.
season. I'm not about it. It's terrifying for me. I
Yeah.
carry spider spray around with me sometimes when I go outside because it's scary in our back patio.
Wow. Well,
I'm ready to spray.
you know, you've won me over on the mouth tape while sleeping.
That's right.
Yeah, especially because it does say this. This unusual case underscores the importance of seeking immediate medical care when experiencing unexplained gastrointestinal symptoms. The doctor speculated the cockroach might have entered the man's body either through an accidental ingestion while eating or by crawling into his mouth during sleep.
Gross.
Yeah, so not great.
No thanks.
Speaking of weird things found in people's bodies, it was a weird week for that in stories.
Apparently.
Oh, it gets weirder.
New year, new you.
New year, new you, new baby. Well, that's the hope for this person who had a baby bird found alive inside their stomach after being swallowed during a fertility ritual.
No.
So we're still
Well, she had a baby, just not in the way that she wanted.
a baby bird. That would be awesome if she's like,
Oh,
hey, the
it's so
fertility,
gross,
the
everybody.
fertility ritual worked, and she's like, and just pops out like eggs, like a Yoshi style.
Not her eggs, though.
Ba-dung, ba-dung,
Did they have
ba-dung.
to obviously open it up and take it out? What happened? Was she feeling fluttering like butterflies?
You know, you keep
Flapping of wings?
You keep saying she.
Was it a he?
It was actually a dude because most women are too smart to eat a whole living bird.
Did he eat a whole living bird?
I don't know.
Or did he just swallow an egg yolk?
Let me take you back across the world to the same location we were at for our last story.
India? Is
We're
that
back
where-
in India.
Oh my
I don't
gosh.
know why.
Guys, you guys have some weird like things.
Well, this person was 35. And
Would you do this?
Would I?
Yeah.
Not after learning that they tragically passed away after collapsing at home. The autopsy revealed a live chick approximately 20 centimeters, which is 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, almost that much bigger than the 3-centimeter cockroach found in the small intestine of the other man.
7.
And it says it was, oh gosh, it's so sad, 20 centimeters in length, lodged in the man's throat, which had obstructed his airway. So look, the reason why I wanted,
Was it trying to come out?
I think it was trying to go in. Here's what happened. And this happens with me a lot. I go, wow, this is a weird story worth mentioning. But then I go, I wonder what other weird rituals
But wait.
for fertility there are.
How did that happen? Did he die because he was trying to eat it? Or did he die because it grew? And then it
Because
tried
the
to get
bird
out?
grew? You
Yeah.
think he like swallowed a bird egg and it opened and
I don't
grew?
know. I'm asking you.
No, I think he swallowed a live bird.
He's an idiot. All right. Give me more. Give me more weird rituals.
Okay. No. Here's the deal. I looked up other weird fertility
I know.
rituals.
I'm ready.
They were too sad and bad to mention.
Okay.
All of them were so sad.
Okay, then let's not.
But let me tell you, swallowing a bird is not the way to figure this out. Now, of course, they're also saying that this person was an occultist. So I don't know what other weird spells, remedies, potions, things they were doing.
I'm not about it. I don't know.
Yeah. So don't swallow a bird for baby's sake,
Don't do it.
unless you're trying to save a living baby by eating a bird that's attacking it.
That doesn't make any sense.
Just make sure it's
Don't
less than
do
20
it.
centimeters. That's all I'm saying.
Less than 20.
Less than 20 centimeters. Also, I'm just going to put this out
rule
there.
of thumb.
Don't try to ingest living things that are still alive.
Bats.
Don't. There was a story today about people getting sick from, someone made weed in their apartment in New York and for their, like fertilizer, they used guano, bat droppings.
No.
And those two dudes died. Stop messing with bats.
Truly.
That goes with Bats the Creature and Mans. Batmans. Don't mess with Batman. He will kill you. That's just a free note. So don't eat things like that. Oddly enough, this is a story. This is a show that is historically not good at following up on things.
Yeah, we do know that. We've admitted that before. We're pretty
Yep.
open about it. We're just here for entertainment.
This week, that all changes.
Okay, tell me more.
After this one story. I do have 2 follow-up stories. It's just a little tease, just
Just
a
a
little
little
shush.
stick
But this one
around.
was so funny, and there's not much to it. But it had me laughing so much that this was even possible that I knew I had to share it with you.
What if I don't laugh at all?
Well,
Let's see.
Saman was a pretty good co-host. So. Mamma Mia, Gran wakes
go
up with
again.
Italian accent despite having never been to Italy or studied the language. Althea, aged 58, is a grandmother from London. She experienced a stroke in May. And when she woke up, she could only speak in an Italian accent, and use Italian phrases.
Really?
Yes.
Someone went into her body.
Can you? What?
What?
What'd you say?
I said somebody went into her body. Like
Like the
she
ghost of
died and the
something?
ghost of an Italian grandmama came into her body. I don't actually know. I'm just making crap.
That sounds like a way better story because
know.
like doctors have like a reason for it.
Yeah, they say like when you can do that, sometimes your neural pathways can get rewritten. And so then like things that you didn't do before, now you do. And I don't know that you can.
Dr. Kelly?
Right? Is that right?
No, I mean, I've heard that before.
What did they say?
Well, you know, like when my dad had cancer and they were like, all your hair is going to go away. But it's kind of funny because sometimes people's hair grows back a different color or a different style. You
Yeah.
might have straight hair, but it might come back curvy. He never got his hair back. But this sounded,
No.
that was really a sad transition. But it is what it
he
made me
passed
think
away.
of. He's
Rest in peace.
dead. With hair or not.
Long time ago.
Long time ago, 15 years. But this chick woke up, this woman, this sainted grandmother, woke up at 58 from a coma with this. So it says, upon regaining her speech, she unexpectedly began speaking with an Italian accent and incorporating Italian phrases such as Mamma Mia, Bambino, and Si into her conversations.
That's so weird.
And it's random ones like Bambino.
I wonder if she watches
Bambino.
like a show, you know, has like a favorite movie, favorite show where everyone talks in Italian
Like
accents.
what?
So-
Like The Godfather?
I don't know, but she went to, it's London, it's Europe, who knows? Maybe they have different shows. But you know what I mean? And she like went to like a dream world where she was like living in that. And so when she woke up, she was like, this is who I am now, a bambino.
Like she went on an acid trip and she lived as an Italian for a whole lifetime
Yeah.
and came back and she
Yeah.
was like, hey, pizza
Yeah.
pie.
Yep.
Well, anyway, they call it foreign accent syndrome. Sounds a little made up to me.
Because how else are you going to describe it?
It's a rare they would describe it as a rare neurological condition that can occur following brain injuries like strokes. My dad also had a stroke. Did not come back with an accent.
Unfortunately.
Is still dead though. Anyway, so I just wanted to tell you that because I thought it was the best case scenario from a sad thing.
Yeah,
if
yeah,
you're
yeah.
gonna have a tragic stroke,
Might as well come back as a different person.
as a different
Recreate
person,
yourself. At least your accent.
New year,
New you.
new grandma. New grandma. Okay, I talked about this earlier. I do have a couple follow-ups here. The hilarious thing to me is that my first follow-up, I have my headline here, but I didn't put any of my notes in here. So I'll just have to do it from memory. Do you remember a couple months ago that chick who got caught having snuck on a Delta flight to France?
Yeah, and then she got arrested.
Yeah. So she was...
In France. And then sent, I think, kept there.
Yes. So to recap, this Russian nationalist, which sounds very political, it's a woman from Russia who was over in the States, flew to France by just sneaking in on the plane.
Laboratory.
The Louvre.
The loo.
The Louvre. Not the Louvre.
Yeah.
That's something else
I
in
was
France.
like, the loo.
So by the time she gets to France, authorities are already there. They arrest her. Well, if you thought this was an update on her trial, you would be wrong. This is not an update on her trial.
Did she try to do it again?
Woman who stowed away on Delta flight to Paris apprehended again, this time trying to get into Canada. So this woman not only got back to the States because she was sent back here. I think she's in Philadelphia.
It makes sense because you didn't buy a plane ticket. So now you're going to go home, back to where you came
Yeah,
from.
she probably got, what would you call it? Deported from France?
Yeah.
And sent to America for some reason.
That's where she came from.
So she was sent here and she's got just some BS stuff like probation and that kind of stuff, right? But she also has a Hollywood sock on, which is what Tracy Morgan in 30 Rock calls one of those ankle bracelets, those like detective monitor things. I guess they're blood alcohol levels, but they're also GPS.
Got it.
So she had to stay in her area with her Hollywood sock on. And at some point, motives are still absolutely unclear. At some point, she's like, I need to go to Canada. You're the Russian accent. You do it.
I need to go to Canada.
See? That was spot on.
It kind of sounds like the Terminator when you said it, though. And that kind of sounds like Duden.
That's
Duden.
Austrian. I have to get to Austria.
I am a Russian citizen, and I need to get to Canada.
This is my impression of Arnold Schwarzenegger impersonating the Russian woman. I got to get to Canada. Oh, wow, it's so huge. All of the gyms in Canada can't be enough for all of my muscles. Svendislaw vodka. That's my impression of Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Governor of California.
Oh, we're going to drive the state into the ground. Yeah.
I don't think he did that.
A lot of people don't like what he did. I was too young to know or
Yeah,
care.
me either. I don't care.
Anyway, so follow-up, woman apprehended again at the Canadian border. She decided to take a bus up there, I think a Greyhound bus.
Probably is on the no-fly list.
Oh, yeah, so she's
So you gotta
it's
find
like
a
that
different
Archer
way.
episode.
Yeah.
I'll buy you a train ticket.
I want to fly the train.
I'm on the no train list either. Yeah, so she took a bus and literally got stopped at the Canadian border. They were like, she's probably going to be here. So she got sent back again. So this woman's got places to go, but it's just not working out.
Nobody
for her.
wants her.
Nobody
in those
wants
places.
her. Nobody. Not Canada.
Somebody wants you.
Not
Just
France.
not.
Probably not Russia. Maybe her first successful one was leaving Russia for the U.S.
She's
and
like, I can do this more times.
yeah, she can do
Lots.
it more times.
Yes.
We should be partners.
Yeah.
We could be like Rocky and Bullwinkle's villains.
Rocky and Bullwinkle. Which one am I?
You're the
Can
Russian
I be
one.
Bullwinkle?
No. We're the bad guys.
Yes, Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Those are the good guys.
Is that the Bullwinkle is the the big moose?
Yeah, in the
moose
squirrel.
guy.
Yeah,
Do
you know the girl.
realize that the
Say this.
Yes,
Say moose and squirrel.
moose and squirrel.
That's who you are. The
Yes.
person who says that.
I just need you to know that that show is old, and while I've seen it, I don't really remember it.
Me either, but I like the characters we have.
Moose and squirrel. Bullwinkle.
Rocket squirrel.
I should do a whole podcast in the Russian accent. People
Well-
would get so tired. They'd be like, "Who that girl that's on podcast?"
Who that girl?
It's not Kelly. It's somebody else.
It's Kilislav.
I do it really good though.
You do it very good.
Okay, I should stop.
Yeah,
I'm
she
not-
does it very good.
I hope I'm not making fun of anybody. I just like the accent. It's a fun one
Look,
to do.
we've offended the Russians, the Austrians, and the French today.
France.
Definitely double down on the French, I guess.
That's like what they did when they like Miss
A goal?
America.
They miss America?
When
And
they'd
go,
have to like
"France!"
walk out and like say where they're from,
Oh.
and the France girl went France. Do you not remember?
I thought you just meant when French people miss America. When they're sad about not being in America, they go, France!
No, like Miss America. It's not America. It'd be Miss World.
Brazil!
Miss. Yes, exactly. What's it called?
Universe?
Miss Universe. That's what it is.
That seems a little egotistical, doesn't it? Be like, it's not Miss
Miss Earth.
Globe, Miss Earth.
That's what it should be.
And like,
Anywho.
can you give the title of Miss Universe when only Earth is competing?
No,
I need to see some flagnars in there.
I know. Come on.
Some
Come on, aliens.
geotropics, some Martians.
Some octopi.
Dude, don't mess with octopi. They're the real deal. Speaking of the real deal, I got one more follow-up story before we unpop some pins.
Okay.
And that follow-up story is, do you remember months ago, we did a story about an old man who saw a Walmart drone flying above his property.
shot it down.
And he shot it down. We'll have a follow-up on that guy.
Did he go to jail?
Did he go to jail? Survey says
Ding, ding, ding. No.
no.
He was-
did
oh,
not
he
go
was
to
fined.
jail.
He was fined.
It's almost as if I could tell you all of the
Yeah, I
information.
know. But you're not.
Well, I can tell you right now that he was a 72-year-old retiree from Lake County, Florida.
And he thought that they were scoping out his land.
Yeah, Dennis Wynn.
So he shot it down.
So he shot it down. He believed that they were surveilling him. So he went out when he was cleaning his pool. He heard the drone overhead. He got his 9mm and fired a single shot, causing approximately $2,500 worth of damage to the drone, if you recall. How big are these drones, by the way?
Big enough to carry whatever someone's ordered.
$2,500. Anyway,
washing machine.
He ended up accepting a plea deal involving a intervention program, which probably means anger management.
Sounds right.
It says pre-trial intervention, so I don't know. As part of the agreement, he had to pay $5,000 in restitution to Walmart. Can you imagine having to pay $5,000 to Walmart? Complete 25 hours of community service, and avoid any legal infractions for 6 months.
Let me guess. He committed another illegal infraction.
He didn't. But I heard he might be on a Greyhound bus to Canada right now, so
who knows?
Stick around for some more updates.
A squirrel coming with
Anyway, if he does all that stuff, they'll drop all the stuff against him. Look.
Except for the $5,000 fine
And there's no legal system anymore. That's what I've learned. I thought there was 2 justice systems. I just think there isn't a justice system at all anymore. It seems
Save
like
that for hardly working through it.
Anybody can do whatever they want.
Well, not anybody.
Well, speaking of other things that are just like my first unpopular opinion that I just said and should save, I've got some other unpop opins to close out the show. You ready for a few?
I'm ready.
Here is our first one. Don't go to bed angry is bad advice.
No.
You don't think so?
No, I mean, I physically can't go to bed angry at you.
You don't think you've never gone to bed mad at me?
No.
I've gone to bed mad at you.
Yeah.
You're like, I know, I ignored it, and I was fine.
I really struggle with that.
And I'm rarely mad at you, actually angry with you, by the way.
Yeah,
but
I know. For the record, everybody.
So you think it's good advice?
We're perfect. Just kidding. We're not.
You think it's good advice to never go to bed angry?
I understand the sentiment of it. The sentiment is like, don't let things fester. And like, don't just be angry at each other, be angry at each other. Like, remember that when you get into bed together, that like, you're still a team. Mm-hmm. And so like, whatever you're working through and whatever is made you angry, whatever it is, like you guys can work through it together until you can't. Mm-hmm. But I really struggle with like us going to bed or being away from you if like we're in tension or conflict, which doesn't happen very often. But I think that's probably why I have such a hard time with it, because I'm like, it doesn't feel normal. And so like, what is happening? And I'm not okay. Are you okay? But I also have an issue. It's either the empath in me or the helper in me, whatever it is, of like, if you could be like, yeah, we're good. But if we're not okay, like I will ask the question, like, are we okay?
That is your way of trying to work it out.
That's
which
my
is
way.
never, it's always.
It's never works. Andy used to tell me that too.
Yes, a below the line way to get to where you're trying to go. I don't mean that critically. I just mean it's not going to get you there.
It's a weird thing because while I know that it's not always the right way to do that, it is so ingrained in me. Like I said, I used to do that with Andy at work where I'd ask her.
What did Andy tell you?
She would tell me that like
ask a different question.
Yeah, ask a different question. But I think sometimes it's for me to get a gauge. Like, are you okay?
Right.
Because if you say no, then I'm like, oh, okay. Then now I can be like, okay.
In the history of humanity, only 6 people have ever answered, no, I'm not okay when asked, are you okay? Everyone else is fine. I'm fine. I'm good.
And fine means you're not okay.
Which prompts you to ask the question 20 minutes later, are you okay?
Are you sure you're okay?
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about something?
Here's what I would say. Never go to bed angry is bad advice. I have been getting clips of Mel Robbins' new book that talks about
you were telling me about this.
Yeah. If you are in a relationship for long enough, you will find out that you cannot change a person. And there's going to be things, even though you think that conflict is because you guys don't agree on something and ultimately you have to agree on something to move on. If you're with someone long enough, you will learn that certain things are non-negotiables or just don't change. So to make sure you don't go to bed without solving the problem of the conflict, it's impossible. Being able to be like, hey, you see this way, I see this way, but as you said, I know who we are and I love who we are. I'm able to put a pin in it and push it over here and we can deal with it later. It's not my job to try to change you. Let you be who you are. You let me be who I am. We are just going through life, hurtling through this space rock at 1,000,000 miles an hour around a giant ball of fire trying to figure things out.
Yeah.
Like we're never going to see eye to eye on everything. And if the rule is never go to bed angry, it's never going to work.
Yeah, I hear that. I think it's just more of like, don't be in bed angry at each other. If you can put a pin in it and be like, hey, we're going to pause. Mm-hmm. And then we can be our normal selves and we can come back to that conflict, tension, whatever later. That's cool.
I think we may have talked about this one before. Maybe we've talked about it offline. I don't know if we've talked about it on a show. But some of my biggest problems relationally have come from this never go to bed without, if you're mad problem. It has caused problems in my family. It has caused problems in my personal life. It has caused problems in my professional life because before we were married, and I used to be married, and even before I was married, but dating that person, it was you cannot get off the phone or we cannot go to bed until you've sorted this out.
Yeah, that's a problem too, though, in its own way. But you guys had a lot of issues and a lot of
totally
arguments, tension, drama.
I didn't
see eye to eye.
But there was a lot of that, yeah. But
well, we'll talk about that in boundaries.
Yeah, in Hardly Working Through It on Friday. But all that to say, I understand the sentiment of it. I wish it was just packaged differently. I wish it wasn't never go to bed angry. I wish it wasn't that. I wish it was something like, remember that most arguments can wait till tomorrow.
Yeah, that's good.
Something like that.
That's good. Maybe we can rewrite it.
To most arguments can wait till tomorrow.
Most arguments can wait. So don't go to bed angry.
Tell me what you think about this one.
Did you hear me?
Yeah, I
okay.
did. Took me a second, but I got there.
Yeah.
Quote, left on red means nothing.
You know, the older I get, the more I feel that way.
Me too.
Mostly because I still have 2 unread messages in my phone that I've read and marked as unread because I don't have an answer for those people yet. Yeah. Which is, when can we hang out? I don't have an answer for you.
Oh,
is that mean?
That's it?
No, but I also think like the older I get, the more I realize like life just keeps happening and like we're all busy. We're all trying to achieve something. We're all trying to like make stuff happen, especially like being someone that has their own business, but that also does other things as well.
Yeah.
And helps you and does stuff with Brooklyn and is there for my family. I'm like, there's only a certain amount of people that like need me to respond right away. Everyone else can kind of wait. And sometimes you might be in that group. This is my thought process. You're getting it as I go through. Sometimes you might be in that group where I'm like, oh, this is a person I can like open up and we can talk back and forth and it'll be an easy thing. And sometimes that person asks a question that requires more thought than the 2 seconds I thought I had to read and respond. Like I thought you were going to send me a funny meme or like I miss you or like, hey, like, can we hang out soon or whatever? But then you ask maybe a specific thing that I'm like, I can't give you an answer right now. Like I'm at an event or I'm in the middle of driving. And so I'm not texting anybody or whatever it is. So I think the older I get, the more I agree with that statement of like being left on red doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, I agree. The older I get, the less that means to me because I definitely don't put my worth and my value in the hands of whether or not someone's responded to me, with the exception of a few people. With the exception of important people in my life. Yeah, there's probably there's 3 I can think of right now that I'd be like, hey, if you haven't answered, like, it's because there's a problem.
Yeah.
But for most everything else, and like I said, my thought has shifted on this as I've gone from a person who used to really value having lots of people text me and like, remember when texting was like first a big thing?
It's a huge deal. Everyone can text you now.
Everything was texting though. Like you'd get like 50 happy birthday or 50 Merry Christmas or Happy Thanksgiving text. It didn't matter what it was. Never.
Well, some people text me that.
Yeah, but it's not like everyone who had a phone and you would text used to send that. I get like none of that now. In fact, sometimes when I send out happy so-and-so things, I get reminded why I don't do that because it blows up in my face. But I find a lot more joy in not having more people to respond to.
Yes.
And not, look, if there's something urgent, like if the other parents are co-parents, parallel parents, whatever you want to call them, if they leave us on red, I'm like, guys, this is about your kid. Let's go.
Oh yeah. But
if it's just me being like, what have you been up to or whatever, I don't care. Everyone's so busy with their life. That's what I figured out too, is like, however chaotic and busy and stressful and hard, whatever is going on like that in your life that's overwhelming, just remember literally everyone else is going through their version of that too. Yeah. So it's not necessarily always about you. You might be a type of person that people are tired of responding to. Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably most of the time people are just going through their own life.
Yeah. And I will say this year I have left more people on red than I normally do. And most of the time, actually every time, it's been because I felt overwhelmed in whatever season of my life I was in. I think there was one point in time, I think I had like 10 unread text messages on my phone and you were like, whoa. And I was like, I know, I've seen them all. I just can't respond right now.
It was also whoa because it's unlike you too.
Yeah.
Emails, you'll have a lot of emails because you don't clear out your junk
But text
all the time.
messages, I normally respond
usually,
right away. I have 2 that are left unread on there still.
Dang, who are they specifically? Say them right now.
No, they're from December.
Oh, that was last year. I'm just kidding. It's fine. We'll get there.
It's people, because I don't want to forget about it. It's people that have asked if they can hang out. And they were like, we know that you're really busy in this season, but can you send us some dates that might work for you? Which is great. I'm like here for it. And also I'm like, December was a very, 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 have I said enough? Very busy month for me.
Yeah, that's true.
Overwhelming in some ways as well. And so I was like, I don't want to forget about this, but also have no capacity and no margin to be like, let me look to January. I'm not even thinking about January.
Just trying to get through the
I don't even know. I'm just trying to get through this week of 7 gigs and being out of state and coming home to a couple more gigs, and gigs are getting added and canceled and I was like, no.
Yeah.
And we have Brooklyn all of December because the parallel parents are out of town, out of the country. Not that they'll tell us that. We found out.
Okay.
Which is
Save
fine.
it for while they're working through it. Save that
But
part.
it was just very overwhelming. And so it is unlike me to not respond.
But that feeling of overwhelm, minus the gigs and stuff, but like if people are going through that, like, okay, that's totally cool. You don't have to respond to my dumb message. Like if you're so busy and overwhelmed, that's totally fine. I think what I've learned is I used to take it so personally, and thanks to my friend Amy Atkins, I read that book, The 4 Agreements, and one of them is don't take anything personally, which I'm not able to do, but I'm able to start to differentiate the things that are likely a personal problem or a personal attack versus what's just people living life.
Yeah.
And usually it's people living life.
Yeah, it's true.
It's like what we talk about a lot of the time where we're like, hey, if we see people in our lives who are doing something that's really, it's for some reason causing our red flags to go up, asking ourselves that question, is this a matter of right and wrong, or is it just not my preference?
And it's normally not your preference.
Normally, most of the time, it's just not our preference. And I think it's like that with the lack of communication for people too, is it's probably mostly going to be something going on in their life, unless you were just chronically a person who's bothering people, which you probably aren't, but it's probably that rather than the exception. Anyway, I have one.
I was going to agree with you. That's it. Okay.
One last thing before we wrap it up.
All right.
I kind of want to change it up a little bit. It says you won't find love just because you stop looking for it. But I wonder if we take the love out of it and we just say, where did you go? Where did you go?
This is something that was told to me all of the time back when I was in church.
Well, then forget about me changing it. Tell me
you're
your
not
experience.
finding a partner because you're looking too hard for them. Once you stop looking and start focusing on yourself, they're going to show up.
Wow. You didn't have a lot of time where you didn't have a partner. I mean, this is all before me and mostly before I knew you.
I mean,
but you seem to have a partner most of your life.
Yes and no. I mean, there was a long time when I wasn't with somebody. There was somebody who was definitely pursuing me, but we were not in a relationship for years.
Wow.
And then we finally were in a relationship for 6 months and he was like, deuces, I'm out. I'm like, all right, well.
His loss, my gain.
That's right. But unfortunately I do kind of agree with this. And it's not about the looking. It's like we talk about this, that luck happens when opportunity and preparation intersect and they meet.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's true about everything, whether that's love or business or car, anything, any big purchase, any big opportunity you want, anything like that. I think it is true. When you stop, I think you have to know what you want, but when you can look inward and be like, hey, I'm obviously not getting to that place that I want to be. What about me needs to change, or what do I need to work on, or what do I need to grow in to help me get there? I do think that's when that happens.
But you know what?
When you talk about relationships, you can be like, well, I'm not finding a relationship because what I'm putting out there obviously isn't attractive enough. That doesn't mean that I'm not attractive enough. It just means like, what are some things I haven't worked on? Like, do I get angry easily? Am I too much of a pushover? Am I too... I'm not going to say that one. Am I too much? No, go find less. But am I, you know what I mean? Am I overbearing? Am I, whatever those things are? Do I have baggage or trauma that I need to work through. Like if you can look inward and be like, what do I need to work on? It doesn't necessarily need to be therapy. It doesn't necessarily need to be the way that you look, but it can be like, maybe I need to grow that skill. Maybe I need to be a better communicator and start reading the news so I have things to talk about when I go on a random date.
Sure.
Or maybe I need to know a little bit of everything. So when I get caught in a networking conversation, I can talk about that movie and this movie and that person and that just enough.
Who does that?
My you.
Hey, as you were saying all this, which is really good and insightful, I was like, I feel like we should probably just throw that question out and
save it for Hardly Working Through It.
Yeah, but also we'll get people's opinions. Let us know. Do you think that you find love when you stop looking for it? Do you think that's a good rule of thumb? Has it happened to you? Just because it has or hasn't happened to you, does that mean that it's accurate or the rule? I do think that'd be fun to talk about on a Hardly Working Through It in the future. Do you find love when you stop looking for it? You want to save it then?
Yeah.
Let's do it. But with that, we've come to the end of our first official 2025 episode, even though our top knots did come out in 2025.
That's okay. And we are going to post that on our Instagram.
Yeah. You know what? I was watching the episodes of you and Shim. I was like, you guys, Shim knows how to plug a
100%.
handle. We don't. We're like, oh yeah, find us at It's Hardly Working.
You can find us at It's Hardly Working if you'd like to be a part of our Hardly Working Through It question so we can see what you guys would say to different things. We'll post that one of what we just said.
Oh yeah. Do you think you find love when you stop looking for it?
Do you think you find love when you stop looking for it? Let us know your thoughts because we want to hear it. Again, follow us at It's Hardly Working on TikTok or Instagram or wherever you listen to podcasts. We're also It's Hardly Working. How'd I do?
Pretty good. And hopefully we'll still see you on TikTok. Only the next few weeks will tell.
Hopefully we'll get past the 22nd.
Yeah, because I really like the community we have on TikTok, and I'd like to keep it that way.
We'll get to posting again soon.
Yes, we will. I'm looking forward to, I'm doing a gig in Palm Springs.
And I'm going to relax.
Yeah, so that's Wednesday, I think. So Kelly's going to come out there with me, chillax. We'll probably take a little time to hang in the morning before coming back the next day. But it's work, but also anytime you get to bring your spouse.
It's fun.
Well, anytime we do, it's more fun. There's
Yeah.
some play involved, and that's great. We've also got the dentist again. You
Woo-hoo.
guys,
Be proud
update
of us.
on my root canal.
He hasn't called. Not yet. But we're going on Tuesday, so he will get a appointment to get it fixed. Yeah.
And that's been your dental update.
You're
of the
welcome.
week. Anything coming up for you that you're excited about?
I got offered a opportunity that would be a very lucrative opportunity for me, but has nothing to do with my photo booth activation business. And while it is exciting in some ways, it's also
challenging
in others. And so that's been my big thing. It's exciting when any owner of any company calls you and says, "Hey, we want you."
Personally.
Yeah, that's always exciting. And when it's lucrative, that's also exciting.
Definitely
But
makes it better.
That's that. But no, we're jumping back into photo booth events on the 16th of this month and potentially maybe sooner than that. I can't remember. I have a couple holds. I don't know. But we're jumping back in. I know that this week will be exciting as we get back into things and as the world starts turning again, because I don't know if you know this, but everything shuts down in the events industry except for New Year's. But outside of that, everything shuts down.
Except for my world.
I mean, it kind of did, though. You weren't really getting any information until last minute because everyone kind of takes a break over the holiday, those 2 weeks. And so things will start coming back now and we'll see that happen. But I'm just excited to go to Palm Springs and be a passenger princess, as they say.
It is an exciting time. I'm also excited for the only thing that I'm actually looking forward to this week, which is the kickoff of the brand new, uncensored, unfiltered, after dark version of Hardly Working Through It. Look out for that this Friday as we discuss healthy boundaries in relationships, friendships, family, all that kind of stuff.
That's right.
It's going to be all that and so much more. Hope you've had a wonderful transition from 2024 to 2025. And listen, it's a new year, but I don't need a new you. I like the way you are right now. Find ways to get better. Find ways to be happier, healthier, but be happy. And don't forget to spend most of your time
Hardly working. Bye.